Today, we're going to talk about redefining your success in a storm. Hey, storms happen, life happens, circumstances happen, things happen outside of your control. The market may shift, your industry may change. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean you have to stop. It doesn't mean you have to stop being successful. We're going to today define what it means in the middle of a storm to set realistic goals, how to stay motivated. What does the momentum still look like? Here, if you're listening today, I want to tell you you do not have to get stuck by things outside of your control. You have areas of control. And that's what we're going to talk about. We have an amazing guest today. I can't wait for you guys to basically hear her voice, but we'll talk about that in a second. Welcome to Referral Roadmap. If you're ready to stop chasing clients and start attracting them through meaningful connections, you're in the right place. This is where we turn relationships into revenue, generosity into growth. Each week, we're going to explore strategies, stories, and my favorite, step-by-step actions that help you build a business fueled by referrals and relationships. Your next breakthrough starts right here. So let's go hit the road together. But Jada, let's go a little bit deeper. If we wanted to know the definition and description of today, what would it be for our listeners?
Yeah. So today, we're going to be talking about when everything shifts. So when there's slow sales, shifting goals, or tighter markets, it's easy to feel like you've failed. But the truth really is that success changes with the season. So in this episode, we're going to be cutting the noise, setting new markers for progress, markers that are going to focus on consistency, energy, and real momentum. Because when business slows, your goals just have to shift, not your standards. So that's what we'll be talking about today. And Athena, I'm sure you have a story for us. Is that right?
I do. And you know what? I'm really want to get to our guest today, but I have to tell you guys something. This is real life, on the ground, me being honest. Just yesterday, I had a meeting with my business partner, and we were talking about one of our businesses and how, man, we're working double hard. I mean, we have half the leads in every platform that we typically do, and yet, we're going to do better than we did last year. That's not an excuse, right? I mean, you got to figure it out. And so we were going through and just saying, everything that we have done, but yet we're still not moving that needle to the where we want it. Now, we could have easily sat back and said, my God, we have done so much. Jada, you know how much we have done. Holy moly. And we could sit back on our laurels and say, you know what, we're doing the best we can. We're doing the best we can. But that's not the attitude we had yesterday. What we did yesterday is we dug deep and said, okay, where is there any weakness? Is there anywhere that we have potential that we're not seeing? And we dug deep into it, and we came up with a couple of things. And I'll tell you why I want you to hear this. I truly believe with all of my heart that when it gets tough is when you get better. When it gets tough is when you have to analyze everything you're doing, every strategy, and focus and look at it and say, what works, what doesn't work, what do I need to adjust? And it makes you go deeper. And I promise you, if you do that, you will come out of a storm better than ever. And when everybody else is coming out of the storm worn out and tired, you're going to be like, boom, I'm on fire. And that's what it's about. Is it easy? No. It's not.
But
I walked
nothing
away with
worth
that
having
meeting,
comes easy.
right? I walked away from that meeting and I'm like, I can't believe how many more to do things I have to do. And I already have 4 pages but anyway, but it didn't matter. Their priorities. So if you're listening to this, I want you to know that was a conversation I had yesterday. And I wish it was easy. I wish it was easy. So today we're going to go in and we're going to talk to a dynamic woman. I can't wait for you to read her bio, but she's dynamic and she's going to show you how she does it because I know she will inspire you and you will get something from her. So thank you guys for being here. Please like, subscribe, share this with somebody. There is somebody that's in business that needs to hear this podcast. It's free. Get it in their hands. We have resource guides with the podcast. Please get it in their hands. And remember, I can't talk. Remember to save it so you can take notes. So, Jada, who do we have today?
Well, I'm excited to announce that we have Eleanor on our podcast. And like Athena said, Eleanor is a dynamic, hardworking woman who is never afraid of a good challenge. So we'll be talking about all that today. But she grew up in southern France, where she creatively started planning for her American dream. Part of her plan was to move to Paris, where she sold high end real estate in the city of love. Eleanor graduated from the University of Oklahoma with a bachelor's in international business, marketing, advertising, and Spanish. That's a mouthful, Eleanor, whenever you say
Wow.
that. But with her experience in retail management, Eleanor feels strongly about customer service and the power of relationships. She firmly believes that tenacity, great work ethic, and a relentless passion for helping others will help her rise to the top. And it definitely has. So thank you, Eleanor, for being here today.
Thanks for having me. Good morning.
Good morning. I love your voice. So yes, she is French, and a French bulldog, I would say, by the way that you get stuff done, lady.
I've
So hey,
heard that a
before we,
couple of that times. It's funny. It cracks me up every time I hear it.
you're like, you're like, okay, Athena, you're not alone in saying that silliness. But I do want to ask you a question before we get into
Yeah.
the what made you have the American dream? Like, what made you say, hey, I'm going to get to America?
I think very early on, I was always super open to bigger and better things. My dad was an entrepreneur, and my older brother, 5 year older, was an exchange student at the age of 15. And so when he did that, I was 10. And I thought, man, that's so cool. So that's when I came to America for the first time to visit him during that experience. And I decided that I was going to do the same. Um, Given when I was 15, long time ago, it happened to be right after 9/11. So things were a little bit more complicated from a French American relationship. But I made it work and I came here and I lived in North Texas on a ranch with my host family that is still part of my life to this day. My host parents are just like my parents. My host dad walked me down the aisle. My host sisters are sisters to me. It's just it's a another family that I have, and so much so that I didn't want to go back. But I did, went back to France and graduated high school, moved to Paris, sold real estate, and always had the goal that I will be back.
That's awesome. Now, when you first came back to America, did you go straight into real estate again?
No, I actually went to college. I was lucky enough to not only have made some money in real estate in Paris at that time, but also having a little bit of money from my grandpa that had passed away that was always very wanting me to have an education and do great things in life. And so I took that as a gift for myself, but also a memory to him that I was going to be doing great things. And so I ended up going to the University of Oklahoma. That was at the time ranked ninth in the nation for international business, which you would think Oklahoma and international business makes an interesting mix. But I did, and honestly, that was the best experience. And I'm so blessed and so happy that I followed my gut and my intuition and what I always wanted to do.
That's great. You are rare, and I love that. I want people listening to hear that story. I hear too many people who have a dream or aspiration and give up. Don't give up. No matter where you're at right now, whatever your age is, um, there's a way. Lean into people, find a way. There is a way to make your dreams come true, I promise. All right, so getting back to the topic, I just wanted people to know more about you because even, I mean, your story is inspirational in so many ways. But okay, right now in the real estate market, which you're in, the market's a little bit tough right now. And it's changing and the rules are changing. But let me ask you, what's your first move when momentum changes? How do you protect your mindset? And what do you do to make sure the market doesn't affect you?
You can only control what you can control. You can't control the market. You can't control the season. You can control what you do and the way that you go about it. You know, just terrible things can happen to you, but it's not what you're dealt, it's how you respond to it. So for me, it's always been consistency, putting my head down, putting my visor on the sides, and not paying attention to what people say about it, because at the end of the day, what matters is the actions that you're taking.
Mm. And what actions, I mean, what actions, if I'm listening to this and I say, Eleanor, if I put my head down, I don't even know what actions I should be taking. What would be something that you're like, this is what you need to be doing?
Well, it depends on what business that you're in, but for me, it comes down to the one thing that I know, regardless of the season, will pay off, and that's lead generation. It's creating conversations around real estate, creating conversation around how can I help? How can I serve you? How can I um, earn the referrals from you? And being the resource for those people in order to have them trust and like me, because you always do business with people that you trust and like. So those are really, really important things to me. And so I put my head down and I lead generate like a French bulldog. And regardless of a day,
Yeah.
you're going to have bad days. People are going to have bad days,
Yeah.
right? But you're
Yeah.
going to have great days. And what you need to focus on is the end of put your head down in your tunnel. And that's what you need to focus on. And if you have a bad day, guess what? You wake up the next day and you do it all over again and you do better than you did the day before.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that because I agree with you. I just was talking to you before we even started. Haven't seen a lot of people have been asking me like, where have you been? And for me, I am down focused with blinders on because I am 10xing one of my businesses. And so it requires that. And not that I don't want to have a social life. It's just this is what it requires, right? You're right. You just have to know what you need to do. And not every day is going to be a good day. There's days, I love that you said that. You shove it off, right? And tomorrow's a new day. Have you ever had a time though where um in your history, your entire career history, where you had to change your strategy? Not your standards, because I know you won't do that, but to stay in the game, you had to change your strategy.
Yeah, so it's been 7.5 years in my career. Um, Came out of the gate really hot and heavy, right? Because I don't do anything halfway. And that also comes at a cost, not doing
Mhm.
anything halfway. Earlier on, it was probably my second year. Um, I was pregnant with my second baby. And not only was I doing this with a first child, and they're 2 years apart, so I had a baby at home, and then I was pregnant with number two. And I was working and working and setting appointments, doing my lead generation in the morning from 8 to 11. And then I was on back to back appointments. I had 30 minutes between appointments until 6, 7 o'clock at night. That served me well because I was doing very, very good. But at some point, when is this going to break, knowing that I'm going to have another baby and I also need to be present at home and I need to be there for my family? And it's very easy to put your head down, but you also have to take care of the people around you and take care of yourself. And so that's when I had my mentor, Brett, look at me and he goes, Eleanor, why have you not thought about leveraging your business even more? And I'm like, well, but there's no one that can do it better than me. What are you talking about? He goes, think about what you can take off your plate in order to have a little bit more sanity and leverage yourself in order to be doing more with less time on task. So that's when we started talking about adding a showing partner, showing assistant that would take care of all the showing so I wouldn't have to run myself ragged in appointments all afternoon and could generate more leads and could generate more business because that's what I'm good at. And let's just say that it took me a while because delegating that control, man, it's hard. And I will tell you, I don't even remember when the day that I was like, okay, let's just do it and see what happens. And what really mattered is that I was blessed to find the right person to help me through that. Um, Not fully delegating the whole clients at that
Mhm.
time, but just really the boots on the ground part of it. And guess what? It was difficult. But guess what? I'm very happy today that I did,
Mhm.
because I was able to have the time to devote to my baby. And don't get me wrong, my baby went on a lot of showings right after he was born. That's probably why he's a great salesperson to this day. Um, and it's been a interesting thing to let go of that control
Mhm.
and trust someone to do something better than me.
Mhm.
And now I have a full buyer's agent that I don't even touch my buyers anymore. I connect them. I'm there for the support and the conversations, but I'm so leveraged that I have the capacity to do so many other things, create more business, but also spend more time with my family, because at the end of the day, your kids are only going to remember when mommy was with them instead of working.
Mhm. I love that. Wow, there's so much there to unpack. Thank you. I think that for those of you listening, I really hope you heard everything she said.
There's a
Be-
lot.
that was a lot right there. I want to pull it apart just a second so people can understand something. You know, um, oftentimes when we're business owners, entrepreneurial people, even sales professionals, managers, we're afraid to let go of control, and that need to control stifles your growth. And you know that, you're living proof of that. And that ability to trust other people with your business so that you can do your superpower, that thing you can do for the business that only you can do. I really hope people are listening, because as I coach and consult people, that is one of the things that people struggle with the most is, what is your superpower? What are you doing to protect it? And who do you need to bring on in order to protect it? Um, Even when it's scary. You said that. You did it when it was scary, and that's what it's about. But the other thing that you said that I wanna pull out, because Jada and I relate to this, is that, we're moms too. And hey, you gentlemen listening, you're dads too. Just because you're a dad doesn't mean it's like, "Peace out, I don't need to spend time with my kids." It doesn't work like that,
It's
right?
very important for kids to have a dad, just like it's very important for kids to have a mom. It's
Absolutely.
two different relationships.
And, you know, it's critical that you look at your life in what I call, that's the whole package, okay? And don't look at work just as work, and your health just as your health, and your relationships and you're one being. And Jada, you and I have talked about this. You're 100, people are like, I'm going to give work 100%. No,
Mhm.
you're not. You have 100%. You are 100. So you cut it off and then you give each one a percentage of the 100, right?
Mhm.
And I want people to hear that, because um, it took me a long time personally to not be a workaholic, um, because I got a lot of my emotional needs met from being that, and all of these things I won't go into. Long term, it did not serve me well. So I love what you're saying. Right now, in this season, it's been interesting. I have more on my plate than ever, and I have not had a nanny for Savannah in, oh my, I'm going on 2 years.
I was gonna say it's been a hot minute.
It's the longest I've ever gone without somebody. And mind you, those of you who are listening, my daughter requires, she's 100% care. She's still in diapers, nonverbal, needs help eating, and she's 20. So when I say I'm caring for her, it's a whole nother thing and a whole nother job,
I say it's a
full-time job.
full-time job.
It's another full-time job. But to say I've, I'm actually doing more, Eleanor, while not having a nanny, because of leveraging other help. and getting my priorities straight, right? So
I think that whenever you're stretched thin, you are so much more productive and that you are so much more in tune with the use of your time.
mhm. Oh my goodness, yes. I absolutely agree with that. So how do you stay motivated? I know I don't like the word motivated, but it is a word. Motivated meaning you continue to do the action. I think that's what I want to say. Motivated is not emotion. A motivated means I'm continuing to do the action that I need to. So when things are tough or the scoreboard's not moving or the sales aren't coming in, how do you stay motivated, stay consistent, and do the right behaviors?
At the end of the day, I think that what matters the most is someone is motivated whenever they're also happy.
Mm,
And if you love and you're passionate about what you're doing, I don't think it's a motivation thing. It's just you're following your heart and what allows you to bring happiness. I went through a transition the last year where I went through a divorce, and I also thought that I needed to make a change in my business because whenever I change one thing, I change everything, right? And I ended up working into wholesaling. And I realized through this all that the motivation wasn't there because I wasn't passionate about it.
mm,
And it also wasn't there because I was working myself ragged so much that I couldn't spend time with my family, my kids.
yeah.
And it was really hard. And once again, it took a minute to go through it. And I realized that I wasn't motivated because I wasn't happy.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so I woke up one morning, I'm like, I'm done. I'm going back to retail real estate because that's what I love. That's what makes my heart happy. That's what fills my cup. That's what helps my relationships. That's what I want to do. And I don't think it's motivation. I think it's happiness and
Mm,
fulfillment in the role that you're in.
yeah. I love that. So, I think that's critical for people listening is to start evaluating what you're doing,
Yeah. What
right?
is what is the one thing that makes you happy and why are you doing it?
Mhm. Yeah,
Are
I'm
your intentions really pure? Is it monetary? Is it, helping people? What is it? Because it's not all about the money. For me, it's always and has always, always been about relationships.
mhm. I love that. Well, and that's why you're good at what you do. I think that people need to hear that. You, you can be a bulldog. You can be determined. You can be an overcomer. You can be somebody who doesn't make excuses, but you can also be somebody who has a tremendous heart, has their priorities right, puts their family first, and put relationships first. I really want people to hear that. I think that people think that all of those things can't coexist, and she's living proof that it can. I want people to hearing this to realize, you if you do it correctly with the right motivation, you're doing the right thing. You don't one of the pieces of your 100% don't have to suffer, right? And that then gets you through when it's tough. I love that. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. Um, Next question. When you s- when you talk about people showing up and doing the work, but still, they're losing. Say somebody's listening right now and they're like, you know what? I'm doing what I want to do. I'm doing all the behaviors. I'm doing that, and it's not working for me, Eleanor. I How do I keep believing? What do I do? What would you say to them?
So, results don't always come right away,
Mhm,
right? And I think that we really do live in a world of instant gratification,
mhm,
and that's not life. You can go online and get the result of whatever it is that you're looking for within a half a second. But at the end of the day, whenever you're working, when you put your head down and you're consistent, the results don't come right away. I mean, I'm gonna give a crazy example of real estate. Majority of people get into real estate and they don't make money for at least 3 months. But if you're going to think that it's going to magically appear because you decided you are going to do it, no. You've got to have a grit. You have to have a consistency. You have to put your head down and you have to keep going. It doesn't magically appear because you decided to, it was going to happen. So it's going back to the basics, doing the things that you know are going to move a needle. If you don't know what that is, then look around and see what other people in your field are doing and mimic that and then put your own twist on it. But back to the basics, and in real estate, it's lead generation and relationships and conversations about it and helping and guiding and advising people.
I love that. Um, Go back to the basics.
Mm,
Go back to the basics to whatever your industry is, and I believe that wholeheartedly. I'm When I look and meet with business owners, CEOs, it's interesting. They love to tell me the fancy things they're doing. And then I'm like, "But hey, let's check on the basics first." And it's always in the basics that the problem is. By the way, it's never the new fancy new thing. It's always the basics. So I love that. Like just show up. But I also like something that you said I want people to hear. You know, look at the people succeeding in the industry you're succeeding in and go do what they're doing. Reach out to them. I hear people say, "Well, they won't tell me." Well, if somebody doesn't tell you, then move
That's
on.
the wrong
Somebody else
person.
will, right? Um, I have found, and we had a guest who said this, so I'm going to steal this from Brandon Baca, but he said, when you call somebody, say, "I need your advice," right? People love to give their advice. So if you want to learn something from somebody in your industry, how to do the basics, call them up. I need your advice.
Well, and here's the thing is you never know where that conversation is going to lead you. Because
Amen.
I will give you the prime example. I have Jessica, is an agent in Oklahoma City that called me a year ago, probably day for day. And she said, "Hey, Eleanor, we were together at that brokerage. I've been following you. I've been watching you. I love what you're doing. I think you're fabulous." Just striking my ego. That was kind of nice. But, anyways, and she goes, "Would you consider coaching me?" And I said, "Well, thank you for that. That you make me feel really good. But I don't believe that I don't believe that coaching is into my wheelhouse. Can I help you? Absolutely. It's not my thing, right?"
Hmm.
And we talked for an hour and we went through business and I gave her some advice and she was super grateful. And guess what? The next day, my showing assistant quit. And guess who I called? I called Jessica and I asked her, I said, "I cannot coach you, but I have an opportunity. When can you be in my office?" She's like, "I'll be there in 2 hours." I'm like, "Okay, cool." And I hired her on the spot.
Love that.
So
And it's
you never know where those conversations are going to lead you whenever you're asking someone for help. Did I think that I was going to do that? No. But it naturally came across and things happen for a reason. So run with it.
mhm.
It is always beneficial to be vulnerable with people about where you're at and what you want to do in life because that's what makes you human. Be human.
I love that. I have to tell you a fun story because it's exactly that. This was 16 years ago, I think. So it was a hot minute ago.
Uh-huh.
But I came to visit my best friend in Oklahoma, but I lived in Oregon. And on my way from Oklahoma City back to Oregon, sitting next to a CEO on the plane. And we start talking about business because I'm a nerd. That's what I talk about. And so he says to me, "I'm really struggling with the person who leads all my sales and marketing." And I said, "Well, tell me more because I've been doing that my whole life. So let's talk about that." So he told me, and I listened, and I said, "You know what? These are some strategies I would do." Blah blah blah. And I just gave him a list of 5 things, and I'm like, "These are the things if you hired me, these are the things that I would do." And he laughed, and he's like, "Well, what do I do to get you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you can't afford me, but these are the things that I would do." And he said, "Great." And I said, "And here's my number. Let's stay in contact. Let me know if those things worked." So we exchanged numbers. I go back to Oregon. He does he communicates with me and is like, "Hey, I did this. What do you think?" And we just had a fun conversation. Lo and behold, I end up 7 months later moving to Oklahoma. But I moved with the company I was with, and I had a great job. I connected with the CEO. We stayed friends. But after I was in Oklahoma for 3 months, the company I worked for decided to shut down all of North America. And so I was given a 60-day notice, and our whole bad situation. I walked into work and had to let my whole team go in one day, and then I had 60 days. But guess who I called that day? I called that CEO and I said, "Hey, guess who is available?" I had an interview on Friday. Within 2 weeks, he fired his directors of sales and marketing for his international company. At that time, we weren't international yet, but national company. And guess who had a job?
There you go.
You know what I mean? You
You
don't
never
know.
know. You never know
You
where
do not.
conversation and relationships are going to take you.
And so be nice, give advice, be helpful. You don't know where it's going to lead, and do that with your clients. But that is the prime example. Thank God I was nice on that plane. Um, you know,
You
but
could
anyway,
very well have put your AirPods in and, like, put your head down and not want to have a conversation, but yet you did, and this is what happened.
yeah, it set me up for where I am, and I learned a lot there. Um, so encouraging you guys, don't let an opportunity to build a relationship go by. I think that that is critical in all levels, in every level. Hey, Eleanor, if you had to have, if somebody was listening and they're like, okay, I'm emotionally tapped, it's hard times. What is the one behavior that you're like, hey, no matter what you do, I don't care how tired you are, this is the thing that you need to do no matter what? What would it be?
I'm gonna tell you, you have to take care of you before you take care of everyone else.
Hmm.
And I've always been a early riser, but that is my number one thing that I always prioritize. So people do make fun of me because I'm usually asleep at 8:30, okay? On a regular day. Don't get me wrong, there are sometimes on the weekend I will partake, but, I get up between 3:45 and 5 a.m. in the morning.
Hmm.
And the first thing that I do is that I go and I work out because that sets precedence for the day. It puts my mind right. I take care of myself. I take care of my body, of my mind, my soul, all of it.
Hmm.
And then on the way back, I pray in my car as I'm driving back, and then I go take care of my babies.
I love that.
But by the time I'm back at 6 a.m., and guess what? No one had a chance to bug me. No one had a chance to get to my mindset because it's already set for the day. I think that most people just go about their day as waking up and wiping the crust of their eyes and then get going, but it doesn't set precedence for a
Mhm,
successful day. Morning affirmations, prayers, whatever it is that you're into to put your mindset right.
mhm. I absolutely agree with that. I'm
I wouldn't be able to do the things that I do without having that time for myself in the morning, and honestly, I do all the hard things as early as possible because guess what? After that, it's easy.
Mhm.
So, all those things in the morning, and then I'll lead generate. By the time it's 11, most people kinda start their day, I'm done, you know? After that, it's all fun and game, not that I don't work in the afternoons, but, like, the hard work that you really have to focus on, that you really have to have your full attention, your mind right to, that's, everything's before
Mhm.
lunch.
Yeah. Well, I couldn't have said any of that better. We have been preaching that forever, you guys, and she just solidified it. And she's not alone. This is over and over again. We continue to have guests say, get your morning routine right. Take care of yourself, take care of your health, focus in on your faith or meditation. I hope people are listening. You guys know I've been pretty honest that for a long time, my biggest Achilles heel is I didn't take care of myself. I put myself on a shelf and didn't take care of myself. And in the last year, I have changed that, and and it feels great. And if it, I wouldn't change that. It's interesting when you take yourself off the shelf and you do what you're talking about and refocus on yourself and make yourself a priority. I had allowed a lie for so long to say I didn't have time. No, I already told you in this podcast, you guys, I am the most tapped I've ever been for time. But in that season, I'm now making more time for me. And somehow
You still
it's not,
manage.
it's all still getting done. Now, some of it is harder to get done, but it's still all getting done. And don't laugh at yourself because last night at 8:30, I was washing my face, getting ready for bed. Because I knew I got up at 5, but I knew I'm like, "Okay, that it's gonna go off at 5, and then it's running, from there." And so, I just love that. So, I hope you guys heard that. Any other last words of wisdom? I That was so good, but any last words of wisdom for our listeners today?
I think that you can really do anything that you set your mind to. And I know it sounds cliche, but the power of habits is really one thing that I would challenge people to look at because at the end of the day, you cannot get consistency without any good habits.
Mhm,
So working through that and figuring out what works for you, because I
mhm,
mean, it might not work for everyone. My thing is I'm an early riser and I do it as early as possible, but maybe it is that you're a night owl and you want to do that at 11 o'clock at night. I don't know how people do that, but you know, figure out what works for you,
mhm.
and
I love
then do it and have that appointment with yourself because you can't help others if you can't help yourself.
Love that. Thank you for your wisdom, friend. Thank you so much for being here. Stay on because we might have you interject as we go through the science and the rubber meets the road. But I have to tell you from the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate your wisdom. Thank you for being here and sharing. I know that people will find this useful and helpful. But Jada, you know that we like to get a little science to back up what we're talking about. So shoot it at us, lady. Any science to back up what Eleanor the Queen told us today.
Absolutely, but first I just gotta say, so I know I've told Eleanor this, but it was her getting up at the butt crack of dawn, literally between 3 and 4 AM, posting on Facebook that she was already at the gym, that got my booty out of bed when I was pregnant and postpartum, so
I remember that. That's awesome.
I was messaging
I'm proud of you. This is hard to do whenever you have little ones.
Oh, it is, yeah, and but honestly, waking up and seeing that you were already at the gym, I'm like, "Okay, I gotta go, like, I can do it, Eleanor already did it," so I gotta say like, 5:30 alarm felt a lot, later just because I was like, "Eleanor's already finished her workout," like,
Yep.
it was helpful on that side of things, but I just had to laugh about that. But yes, there of course is some science. I'll make it short and sweet. But the Journal of Clinical Psychology, so it's published in that article by the University of Scranton, found that 92% of people fail to achieve their goals because they set outcomes, not behaviors. So I think that just really goes back to setting those habits, setting those behaviors, and getting them done early so that, like Eleanor said, the fun and games can happen in the afternoon. You've already done the hard things.
Can we just stop? 92%
Yeah.
fail. I really let's just have homage to that awful
Mhm.
number. We don't need 92% of anyone failing.
No.
So really think about behaviors, you guys, not just outcomes, please.
Mhm.
Anyway, and I agree with that stat, but that just breaks my heart. I don't like to see that kind of failure.
Yeah,
All right.
92%, that's crazy.
No.
The second one, is a Harvard Business Review article that said that high performers focus on progress over perfection, and they're 400 times more likely or percent, sorry, more likely to reach their goals.
Mhm.
Holla.
400.
400% more likely.
400. Holla.
Yeah, that
Hey, no one's perfect. Here's the thing is like you can have analysis paralysis all you want, but at the end of the day, if you follow that, you're not gonna do anything or get anything done. So you might
Mhm.
as well jump in it and kind of fix it as you go.
Yep.
It's better than not doing anything, right?
Amen. Yeah, progress over perfection. I think Athena has a sign on her desk that says that
I
too.
do.
The third and last one is it's a McKinsey and Company report that said companies that set clear, adaptive micro goals during economic uncertainty saw 30% higher performance than those who stuck to rigid long term plans. So, redefining
Mm,
the success to match the moment
yes.
is what they focus on.
Yes, I love that because hello, I you know what I don't like? You
Mm.
ladies, you tell me. Um, well, we've always done it that way.
Mm.
Yeah,
I'm
being
like,
able to
okay,
adapt is a lost art. I feel like, you know,
Yep.
um, I feel like we're all um, rigid because of the life that we are in, and always doing the things that we are used to do without thinking outside the box. And unfortunately, that leads to exactly that.
mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I really went in this particular time that we're in, my mentor, Darren Hardy, I was just on a live call with him with a group of elite people from around the globe. And one of the things, the first time I've ever heard him say this, which is interesting. He's kind of a very positive, like always be positive, personality type. And he literally said to us, leaders, what has worked is not working. What you have depended on before is not working now. Everything you thought you were going to ride because it worked before will fail you now. And he's like, this is the time to become agile, be flexible, be willing to learn, to adjust, adapt. He's never said that before. And I know his heart is always to keep us one step ahead of our competition, one step ahead of anything that could derail our success. And it really resonated with me because it made me think, you know, I need to relook at how we're doing some things, and I need to take to heart what he's saying. Now, he's not saying you can't achieve. He's saying don't sit back on what used to work and think it's still going to work. Get out there, figure it out, get creative. And so I just want you guys to hear that. That's really important. It goes with that statistic because you need to stay agile. And I think I think as business owners and business leaders, we need to be staying agile for a hot minute because things are changing very quickly. All right. So where's the rubber meet the road here? What are some things that you can take away that you can actually do? And again, if you're on the treadmill or you're driving, I hope that you save this so that you can write this down in a journal. But your number one step, set a daily standard. Eleanor talked about this. Set something that you're saying, I'm going to do this in the morning. What is your morning routine? That thing that you're going to make sure that you get done every day. And then, second, when am I going to do the priority things that are critical that I do? And she just talked about that. Take care of herself and then take care of the things that make her money. Think about that today. Start looking at what your morning and daily standard of operation needs to be, okay? Write that out. Write it out and then start executing it.
For me, I
And
use my calendar like it's no one's business.
yeah.
If you look at my calendar, it's color coded and it's got a 4:30 appointment. That's my gym time.
Mhm. Did you guys hear that? I'm hoping everybody listening heard that. She just said she time blocks with color code. So, and
Mhm.
I did not pay her to say it.
She's talking my language, Athena.
I know. And I are time blocking nerds. So we are all about the time block tools. So we love it. So thank you for sharing that because people need to hear it. That's how you execute. That's how you actually move
Exactly.
forward.
If it's not in your calendar, it doesn't exist.
Mhm. Amen. I won't do it if it's not there. So that has to be in there. Number two, measure what moves you. Okay. So you need to know. And I'm not talking about sales. Of course, I want you to track your sales. You know how critical that is in business. What I'm talking about is what moves you to create energy within you. What are you doing to re energize yourself when times are rough, things are tough? What are you doing to give yourself new energy? You need to think about that, and you need to think about what gives you energy. One of the things that I hear when I do consulting and coaching is people have a very difficult time honestly identifying what gives them energy. um, and or they lean on, well, somebody in Pinterest did this or somebody said this. Doesn't matter what everybody else does. What is the thing that gives you energy? What is that thing? And make sure that you have time in your schedule for it. I know mine is reading quietly. Getting to just get, I have a favorite chair in my house. And if I can just have some minutes where no one's pulling at me and needs me, and I can just sit and read a book in quiet, I'm happy. You know, I'm like, just a book. I just need a book. So, whatever that is for you, identify it, take time, schedule it, time block it, color code it. Number 3, celebrate. Again, we're talking about, how do we stay in momentum in tough times? Celebrate your progress every single week. You guys celebrate your wins. Write down the 3 things that moved your needle or things that you did this week that you're proud of. You guys know I call this your success journal. It's something I have all my coaching clients do. Some of them, they're so hard on themselves that every week on Friday they have to call me to tell me what an amazing person or badass they were that week because they struggle so much with it. So what is that thing that if you had to call me at the end of the week and go, girl, I'm awesome at blah, what would that be? So you need to be celebrating that success. And it could be something small. It doesn't have to be something huge, but you need to be celebrating it because the more you celebrate, the more energy you have and the more you'll do those right behaviors. All right, number 4, have a map. Think of a momentum map. Okay, so think about what are in the next 30 days, this is what I want to achieve. And then I'm going to do these steps. And then I'm going to be proud of myself when I get done with it. Okay. So create a map that you can follow. I also suggest that you come up with a prize for yourself at the end. I was talking to one of my coaching clients. She's not motivated by money necessarily. There's other reasons why she's in business. And we were talking about she has this really big thing she's about to achieve, and, I had her early on write out 5 things that if I did something extraordinary, I'll give myself one of these 5 things, right? So create a map and maybe put something at the end of that, "Hey, when I achieve this, I will do," whatever. So think about something fun that you can celebrate. And it doesn't have to be monetary. It could be anything that gets you excited. And lastly, redefine your win for this season. If things are tough, I want you to micro your wins. Okay, what I mean by micro your wins is I want you to say, a win is that I did my time blocking. A win is that I did my prospecting this week. A win is that I built new relationships this week. A win is that I took care of myself this week. I want you to create those wins, get those things in your life, and I promise you, you'll start to feel some momentum and get out of any kind of funky funk you're in. We need to feel those wins, and we need to continue to create actions. And so, putting all that together, I want you to breathe and realize that no matter where you're at, how much you're stuck, you don't have to stay there. Okay? You can implement these things, you can do and live like our friend Eleanor, and you can make a difference no matter what is going on in the noise around you. Okay? I don't want you to feel like you have to be influenced by the negativity. This is your life. You get one of them. Jada and I say it all the time. It's not your practice life. Take it serious. Take all your relationships serious and live a life that you, at the end of your life, you'll be laying in bed about to pass away and you'll be like, I had a good one, right? Not a perfect one. I had a good one. So think about that.
It's
Jada, how do people
interesting
can
you
go ahead.
say that about breathing because I found myself so many times in the spot where I'm just like stressing out and someone told me, Eleanor, everything's going to be okay. Take 3 deep breaths. And guess what? After that, it gets better.
It does. Breathing exercises are a real thing.
They
Hmm.
are.
They are a real thing. They really do help you. I'm just Just saying, that's a real thing. Breathing is an and the breathing exercises that they teach you in therapy are a real thing and very helpful. Jada, how do people connect with our friend Eleanor?
That's a great question. Eleanor, how do people connect with you?
Facebook, Instagram, Eleanore Hutton, or my email, lel at Brett, BRETTBOONE.com.
And I'll make sure that your social medias and your email are linked in the show notes below. That way, if anyone is driving or on their treadmill, they don't, get into a crash one way or the other. They can just click a
No,
link when
please
they're in a
don't.
safe location.
Good.
Perfect. Other than that, though, in this week's show notes, we'll also include a link for you all to download our season 6 resource guide. We have a few more episodes, so it will, you'll get a little sneak peek ahead if you go ahead and download it now. But otherwise, don't forget to like and subscribe so that you can join us next week as Athena brings real talk and real strategies. We'll see you then.
Thank you, everybody, for being here.